and welcome to another episode of Holla Chat. I'm Rachel.
And I'm Bobby, and welcome back.
When I was like introducing it, I was like, should I say the number? And then I was like, how would I know what number this is?
I don't know.
It could be any number.
I think it is episode 3, though. No, episode 4. This is
of this season, but like overall.
Oh,
because I always put, when I'm like putting in the episode, I put what the overall episode is. I'm like episode 506, something. So wouldn't it be wild if we got to 500 episodes?
You know that not Golden Girls, the Designing Women podcast I was telling you about, they have like 1 million episodes, and they don't have a ton of engagement either. So
that's
like
us.
We could keep shouting into the void as long as we want.
Listen,
they also very funnily have like a disclaimer at the beginning of their older episodes. They're like, hey, this is us from the future. So we were really bad at audio back then. We're better now, but we just wanted you to tell yourselves to be prepared. I was like, I wonder if we're ever going to like go back and do that. We won't. No, but it feels like something that we would talk about doing.
Yeah. I mean, especially for our 80s podcast, maybe for our reading podcast, we could go back in and put a disclaimer like, we're better now. But you know, when we get better, we can go back and be like, we're better now. But for our 80s podcast, I think 18s are used to some suffering, so they can just suffer.
Sure are. That's what we're good at.
So I was inside baseball. Is that the word? Okay.
Maybe.
Inside baseball. I was editing the episode that went up on Friday. I was editing it on Friday because Bobby and I did a thing where we were like, okay, we are going to record 2 weeks in advance so that gives Rachel just so much time to edit it. And then what I inevitably do is wait for like 2 days before it's supposed to be posted. And I'm like, I better sit down and start editing. So Thursday night, I went to sleep and I was like, well, I've got a lot of editing to do tomorrow before I post this episode. And so on Friday, I did wake up and like edit for 4.5 hours to get that up by noon. And I can't remember why I started telling this story, but the point is that like I'm 2 days away from all of that work. So I had a point. I don't know what it was.
It was in there somewhere.
Sure.
Buried.
Maybe I'll just cut my whole back. I had a point.
Well, you were talking about how we do these 2 weeks out.
It was something about our editing. I don't know.
That it takes forever? Like,
no.
Even if you do it like on time and you don't wait until the last minute, even though you gave yourself a full 2 weeks, it does take forever.
It does.
Just so you know.
We're suffering for our art.
Art, yes.
Anyways, I remember my point, everyone. We've gotten here. I am very close to us discussing our plans of getting concert tickets because I just edited us talking about our plans to get concert tickets 2 days ago. And so I thought maybe we could start by updating the people on the concert tickets we got.
Oh, I mean, I figured that would be our first thing anyway, since that's like one of the major things that has happened. 80s has been very quiet recently. I know they've been doing some stuff in Japan, and it does always feel like they get very quiet when they do stuff in Japan because Japan doesn't like to share.
San was in Namhae.
He was. Looked so beautiful.
He did.
Have you seen the footage of the 18s just straight up shoving their phones in his faces? Have you seen that? Because I'm annoyed by that.
I haven't, because I haven't really been getting on social media. But I saw that he was there, and I thought that was great.
He was very beautiful. He was wearing a backwards cap because he said it was windy and it was going to mess up his hair. He also, when he gave his speech in Korean, English, and Japanese.
Oh, what a good boy. San was my patron saint this week, so I really felt the most joy when he had this nice schedule. It's really warms my heart.
San just makes me feel very glowy. Anytime he does anything, it was very charming. But he looked so nice. And then when he went on the walk, he was surrounded by 18s. And there is this one clip of an 18, like their phone is just right there in his face. And it's like, hey, what if we back up a little bit? You know? Let's just give him a little, just the tiniest little bit of breathing room would be so nice. But no. He did not get that.
I feel like it's so easy to be proud of Son. Like anytime he does something, you're just like, yes, I'm so proud of him. So like, I think that's where the glowy. He's never done anything that didn't make me proud. Like I'm just always like, wow, it's so great. It's so great that I get to know this man. He's so great.
I know. It's like I can't believe we're just all here on the planet at the same time.
It's just so great.
How our timelines just converge like that. It's so nice.
That's so great for me.
Should we circle back to concert fallout, Ticketmaster fallout?
Oh, Ticketmaster
and then
fallout.
get into current events.
Well, should I tell the people about how I've become a witch? And like,
oh yeah. Well, you did talk about it on the last episode. That was one of your talking points. Was
I think
if we had more time, we could have cast more spells.
Yes, I did find a spell that could be cast. And I'm gonna be so honest that it worked so well. Like nothing's ever worked better.
It doesn't last very long though, but Rachel was the only one who was successful on ticketing day. Like we were all there. There were like 3 of us, 4 of us, a couple other people. It was just Rachel, Carrie, and the whole team.
I'm gonna get the vibe in. So like 2 days before ticketing, I found this spell and I had to make some allspice essential oil. So I started there. You know, I'm in my kitchen making my allspice essential oil. I had my cheesecloth ready. So we're really doing some stuff in the kitchen 2 days before concerting. The day before concerting, I went to
ticketing. She means ticketing.
In my heart, it's concerting. I don't know what to say.
Why?
It's like I was at a concert. Okay. That's how much fun I had on Ticketmaster's website. Anyways, so I went to a witch store and I bought a candle. It was an orange candle for good luck, I think. Control. There were different vibes for different colors.
Yeah, you sent me a picture, and I was like, you need to get orange. And you hadn't even... She didn't even read... Folks. She was just guessing, and she didn't read the sign that was posted with the candles. And so I'm looking at the sign because she sent me a picture of like the table with the clearly visible sign. And I'm like, okay, well, I think you need to get orange. And she's like, well, no, I think I should get gold. And I'm like, well, but the sign says, she's like, what sign? I'm like, you sent me a picture of it. What are you doing?
This is how I live my life.
It is.
So I'm, at my witch store looking at candles. I've got my essential oil at home. I have the spell. In the spell book, it says that I am making the essential oil and I will anoint my candle with that oil. And I will also carve 2 words into the candle, and then I will light the candle. This spell has to be cast on Tuesday, and ticketing is on Tuesday. So things are really working out, right? So we're all set up to go. I'm ready to get my witchy life going. I get my orange candle. I carve my words. The morning of ticketing, I put the oil on my candle, and I light it like an hour before ticketing is supposed to start. Because part of the spell is that you have to burn the candle all the way down. And I thought, because I'm not like a good witch who's like practiced and like knows what she's doing, I thought that the spell wouldn't start working until the candle had burned all the way through, and that was going to like release the magic. But actually, the spell only works while the candle is burning. So I think if I had delayed lighting that candle, maybe we would have had better luck in Arizona. But anyways, so I had my candle lit. My candle was lit through Atlanta and Dallas, and I have never had a ticketing experience like that. You know, when you click on seats in Ticketmaster, it will be like, sorry, someone else took these seats. You're going to need to pick new seats. Like that happens every time. Even if you're in like the back and you just have to like keep going until it works. I clicked on 2 seats and I just got them. I got in, I clicked on 2 seats. They were like, yeah, pay for it. So I paid for it, and I just got 2 ults for Atlanta, and there was no headache, no frustration. It was so easy. My candle's still burning, and I was like, wow, it worked. The spell worked. So everything's going well. Dallas comes, candle's still burning. Same thing. I got in. There were 2 seats available. I clicked on them. I bought them. Those were 18. They were barricades, so I thought they were ult when I clicked them, but they weren't. They were 18. I just didn't realize that barricade would also be 18. So that's really on me. That's not on the spell, I think. Like, that's user error. And it worked. I got those 2 18 tickets with no hassle. And yeah, like Bobby said, there were other people trying. No one got anything else.
such a struggle for the rest of us. Like, we were
I was
fighting
a little
for our
annoyed.
lives.
I was like, this has been the easiest ticketing experience ever. Why aren't y'all getting anything? You all should have cast my spell. It was a very good spell.
Listen, not all of us have witch stores just like in our neighborhoods, okay?
And so then my candle burns out after Atlanta. And the next one up is Phoenix. And no one got anything. So that's what I'm saying.
Listen, I don't know if there are enough candles in the world to fight with AXS.
I
just don't
so
think
bad.
I've never in my life had a struggle like I had with AXS. I was like, I don't even understand what I'm looking at.
The thing is, I had alt tickets in my cart 2 separate times and like tried to purchase them, but because of like how AXS's system works, they only give you 2 minutes to make the purchase. And so I like put all of the card information in as fast as I could because it like wouldn't let me pre-save it.
You can pre-save it though, because I pre-saved mine.
It wouldn't let me.
Well, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, but because I was all set up and ready to go.
I think
even
it was
though, by the way,
app.
I wasn't going to Arizona.
Like, I think it was the app because like what happened was like when I went, it was like trying to force me to pay with Apple Pay, and I didn't have like a card set up because I was using my son's phone. So I like it wouldn't let me, like it just wouldn't. So I had to like figure out how to get out of Apple Pay. So it was just like it was doing a thing, and by the time I got like the credit card in, the 2 minutes was over, and like it was like trying to load the credit card. Like you know, I had put everything in, I pressed go, and you know, I watched it for 30 seconds just not go through, and then it took the tickets away. So, and that happened twice. Like I got alt tickets twice, and that happened 2 times. So that spell really wore off quick. But I have since decided that I just wasn't meant to go to Phoenix, and that's fine. I didn't want to anyway because I mean I wanted to have the alt tickets, but I wasn't convinced that I wanted to go to Phoenix because it was like the day my son starts school, and I didn't want to miss his first day of school. So I don't think it was meant to be. I didn't really want to go to that show. It sounds like I was really like trying to get alt tickets multiple times. What I was trying to do was to get alt tickets for Bobby and Rachel because they didn't have any yet. Like I was going to give them the Atlanta alt tickets, and I was going to sit in the bowl, and then Cassandra and I would go to Phoenix and have alt, and we didn't get those.
We did also try for the LA Day 2 that was announced because you've got a box for LA Day 1, right?
I've got a box for LA Day 1.
So we attempted, and so it was all four of us trying.
For the same reason. Like we wanted to give y'all the Atlanta alt, and we were going to take the LA alt, and then we were just going to sell our 18E Dallas tickets for cost, and then we could all be in a suite together because we wanted a suite for Dallas. And that was our big plan. But you know.
We don't have this suite for Dallas yet. We're still depending on Gus, the sweet man, to get it together. But we get in the ticketing for LA Day 2. So it's me, and it's both the Rachels and Cassandra. We're all in there. Everybody's working. Cassandra gets the lowest.
No, it's a Thursday. This is a Thursday. So my spell again wore off. Can't cast it again. Not a Tuesday.
But here's the thing. Cassandra got it. She had the lowest queue number I've ever witnessed, like in reality. She had like a 315, I think she was. And still, by the time she got in, there was no VIP except for Fantasy left, I think.
I kind of like talked with her after it, and she's like, it was a mistake to use my account. I should have just had you do it because like she hasn't ticketed in years. So she just like wasn't quick enough because she just like isn't practiced at it. And like I have been ticketing for everyone for like the past like, you know, several AT's concerts, and I had been ticketing on her account while she was at work. And she kind of like came home, got on her laptop. Her laptop doesn't have a mouse, so just like, you know, using the pad and like not being like practiced in it. She feels like that was a mistake and she shouldn't have done it because she didn't like have she thinks she could have got them if like really we should have just stuck with what worked, because like I didn't get any tickets on my account. I want to be clear, like those, even with my spell, those are all on Cassandra's account. Cassandra's account at my house, so that worked. But you know, her trying to do her account at her own house didn't work. So anyways, we have tickets for the concert. We will be seeing it. That's the important news. Right. And if you're in Atlanta, I'll be in Atlanta ult, so we can say hi. Because that is the ult that I'm going to take, since that's the only one we got.
It's the only one that you got.
I thought I got y'all ult for Dallas, but I tried.
Oh, well.
I mean, all y'all wanted was to like have a send-off experience so that you could have your interaction with security dad, and you're gonna get that. So
yeah, I've already told Rachel, I'm like, listen, our other friend Rachel, who will be with me in Dallas, I was like, listen, we got to start scheming now how we're gonna communicate to security dad that we want his signature. Because I'm like, he's going to be with Yosong. We know this.
Yeah.
And we also will want Yosong. So, like, we will be asking for a lot. So, we got to plan. We got to think ahead.
I feel like y'all should, like, overwhelm by, like, you asking for Yosong while Rachel asks for security dad. And then as soon as that's done, you ask for security dad and Rachel asks for Yosong. So, you're just... You know.
Well, security dad knows me. I'm convinced. I do feel like he clocked me at Arizona last year and was like, "Well, that's a crazy person. We're not going over there."
Well, maybe just
so,
Rachel.
It will be. I mean, even if we do, even if we are like at barricade at send off, which who know we may not be.
Right.
I do feel like I'm going to be relying on Rachel for that. I mean, like, okay, you're the adult in this situation, so I'm going to need you to like...
Rachel's also much more extroverted than I think any of the rest of us are. I feel like sometimes people who don't know me think that I'm an extrovert, but like if you talk to me at all, I'm not. I hate talking to people. It's the worst. Anyway, so those are our concert ticketing experience. Strong recommend to that spell. If you want to get into the witchy lifestyle, that one was a really good one.
I feel like we need like a disclaimer, like if you're like a real Wiccan, a real practitioner, we're sorry. I don't know. I just feel like
when I was
I don't want to like cheapen what you believe in, and
I'm like a real appreciator of the Wiccan arts. Like I think that they really have like the right idea. Their whole thing is like do whatever you want as long as you're not hurting anyone. I think that's beautiful. Do know that I am not trying to cheapen your lifestyle. I'm a real appreciator and fan, and I'm always reading Wiccan books. Like I'm a true believer. So just because when I talk it sounds like I'm making fun of things, I'm not. That's just my vibe.
It is her vibe. Real weird sense of humor.
Anyways, what's next?
We have Hongjung has recently been appointed the ambassador for the global, like, the water in the running thing. I don't remember what it is.
I was like, I don't know where she's going with this, so maybe this is news I don't know.
It is the World Vision Global 6K for water, and he's like the ambassador now. See, we got this little picture.
This was like similar. This is similar to what he did for his birthday, right? Like a similar. Like is it the same?
Like it is. It's the same thing that he did for his birthday. It's the same group and everything. It's just now he's the face of it.
And I think that's great. I had a lot of trouble signing up for that 5K. Was it 5K for his birthday?
It was 5K for his birthday.
I had a lot of trouble signing up for it.
I did eventually figure it out, and I forget what I did to help myself figure it out. But there was like like at first there was like a glitch where but you just couldn't. If you were foreign, you couldn't do it. Global was just for fun,
Right.
Like we just put that there because it looked good in the title. But they did after they fixed the system. There was I forget what it was. It was like you would just take some special steps and figure things out, and I did eventually figure it out.
Yeah, I did as well. I eventually signed up. Our friend Rachel never could. So we'll see if we're able to sign up for this global.
We'll see what this is. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know when it's happening. I don't know if it's like a thing that's happening or if it's just a series of things. I have no information. I just know that Hongjung is the face of it, and I love that for him because what better face could you have?
Speaking of beautiful faces, I was opening my platform albums last night, like my new ones, the Fever platforms. So I was opening those tiny boxes, and I opened the Fever 2. Fever 2 was like kind of my first ATEEZ comeback, but my first comeback as an ATEENY was Fever 3. But Fever 2 was when I got like interested, and the reason that I got interested is that Hongjung's hair was really cool. So I thought he was so cool. I thought his hair was so cool. I thought his vibe was so cool. And I opened my Fever 2 albums, and I got the perfect like Hongjung card, like the perfect card. He's got his beautiful cheetah print hair up. He's wearing his very cool outfit. It's full of vibes. And I was like, oh my God, it was for me. This box was sent for me. So Hongjung has a perfect face. That's where I was going. Sorry. Just in my Hongjung moment. Maybe Hongjung should be my patron saint.
Yeah, I had him this past week. You do have to be careful with Hongjung because you could get his really deep focus, get things done, work ethic, or you might get his chaos goblin vibes. And I always end up getting the chaos goblin. I don't mean to, but I was chaotic this past week.
I have what I refer to as the goblin line in ATs, and it's Hongjung, Wooyoung, Jongho, and Mingi. The other ones are like the sweet little angel boys. Right. Angel line.
Sweet and gentle and precious, and then the ones who are making
So you have to be careful with any of those four, I think. They're just full of chaotic energy.
Speaking of goblins and witches, I have discovered a talent. We knew I had this talent before, but I didn't realize how powerful it was. So KQ has gone public. Rachel has a lot of feelings about this. I don't feel like I am viewing the situation with such like a dour lens as Rachel is.
Okay, I feel like everyone knows this, but I'm just gonna preface it. I'm anti-capitalist.
Yes.
There is not a more capitalist step than taking your corporation public. That is the next level. It's the final boss of capitalism. So this is very upsetting to me personally.
My perspective is that I don't know that they would have been able to survive with the competition that they have with the big boys, because they don't play with the small companies. They play with the big companies. Yeah. And
how can they compete with them if they also don't? Right. Yeah. I know.
And especially when it feels like so many things are stacked against them. And by them, I'm not talking ATs. I'm actually talking KQ as a company. Yeah. People have been talking about how ATs is their Naver special that they did, that the best one, the Naver Now one, Real Now, is like one of their best reality contents they have ever released. And that is true. And people are like, why don't we get something else like that? And it's like, well, apparently people are saying that Hybe bought out Neighbor. So no, they're not going to get that anymore. So when we are in a situation where there are fewer and fewer places that they can go where they're going to be welcomed as the small company group that they are, or Zykers even, we've seen Zykers just have opportunities, yoinked away from them.
And people have been complaining about Zykers' lack of promotions this comeback, and it's like, yeah, it's true, and it's just that they don't have, there's nowhere for them to go. Yeah. All these shows that you want them to go on, they have to be invited, and they're not going to be invited. If I could just call up a company and be like, hey, I want to be on Idol Radio, myself, you can't do that. Right. Even KQ can't do that. KQ cannot call and be like, put Zykers on this show. They have to be invited, and they're just not going to be in the current climate. So.
Right. I am for Idol Radio specifically, it seems weird that they would not be invited given ATEEZ's relationship with Idol Radio. However, I'm also I don't know what sort of reach Idol Radio has now.
I just said Idol Radio as the first thing I thought of.
But I have seen roadies complaining about that, how come they haven't been on Idol Radio. But they've also been talking about how come they're not on, what's the show with the live singing?
Immortal Songs?
Not Immortal Songs, but also Immortal Songs. Why haven't they been on Immortal Songs again?
Okay, It's Live.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Why aren't they on It's Live? Why aren't they being invited onto Legion Service?
It took ATs so long to get on those shows, and the ATs are huge, and I wish that Zykers was too, but they're not.
Yeah. But they're also not on shows like After School or Weekly Idol. They haven't been. I'm I don't even know if those shows are still going, because ATs obviously isn't going on them, but it seems like Zykers isn't either.
But that might be why Zykers is not getting invited to them, because ATs is not going on them. Because we know that a lot of Zykers' earlier schedules they were able to get because ATs agreed to go. That's for sure why ATs did KCONs for so long.
Yeah. So I do feel like part of this, I feel like this is just sort of the necessary evil in order for KQ to survive.
It's probably true. It doesn't make me happy, but it's probably true.
It's the truth rarely makes me happy, but especially since, they've got to prepare for ATs to to be for enlistment in a few years.
Yeah.
And if ATs aren't producing, they can't, Zikers isn't selling the way the ATs is. And they're obviously not going to make as much money off of like Sohyang or Maddox if he starts releasing stuff again. So with ATs are their primary money makers, they have to have another like reliable income stream. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a way for them to make money just to keep going, because they're obviously not going to want to downsize at this point.
Right.
All that said, when the news dropped, I had confessed in the group chat that I literally, like, not 2 days before the news drops, similarly to what happened with the concerts where I had just been thinking about it, I had been thinking about the idea of KQ going public and like what would that be like.
And I just don't know why
is that something
use
they
your
would ever
powers
do
for good.
The problem is I don't know when I'm using them and when I'm not. Like I wasn't thinking like, oh, I wish this would happen. I was just thinking, oh, I wonder like if they would ever do that and what would it look like and what would happen. And lo and behold, the news drops. So in that group chat, Rachel's complaining at me. She's like, I need you to use your powers for good. So I was like, fine. So I start just shouting random things that I want. So I said I wanted Yuno in a drama and there's no Maha in it. I said that I forget all of what I said actually, but one of the things that I did say was Yosong solo. And everybody shuts up.
And it happened.
I didn't specify like a solo song, even though that was kind of what I was feeling in my heart was a solo like music.
You have to be so careful.
You do have to be so careful. And usually it doesn't work unless I either don't share it with anyone or I say it specifically on the podcast, like I did with the Empty Box music video. But next morning we get the announcement. Yosong's got, what is it, GQ that he's in?
I thought it was the one that starts with a V.
Okay, so Yosong has a spread in a magazine.
It's like a
somewhere.
9-page spread.
Yeah.
For some reason, I thought it was Korean Variety, but I don't think that's true.
I don't think that that's true. Esquire magazine.
Not a V.
Not a V. Not a single V to be found. So
But there's a Q, and I feel like those are pretty close to V's.
Okay, fine. Whatever. So, he did get his solo content the next day. Of course, this has led to the inevitable people being stupid on the internet since Yuno's been very quiet. A lot of them have been very quiet. Recently
just had a solo. I think people don't think of the Valorant as a solo schedule, but that was like for sure a solo. Like that was a payday from Valorant. Like that was a solo schedule for Yunho. Yunho just had a solo schedule. Just because it wasn't a magazine or like a fashion thing doesn't mean it wasn't a solo schedule. That was a solo schedule. Right. Wanting to get your life together.
I just don't understand, and it happens every single time. Every time one single member gets something, people want to complain about this other member not also getting a thing. And it's like, do you even hear yourself? Do you realize like what that sounds like? Like, do you realize how much you are cheapening this thing for it's like going to somebody else's birthday party and then complaining that nobody gave you presents.
Where are my presents too?
Yeah. Like, okay, stop. It's so inevitable. It's like every single time any good thing happens to one person, people get mad that it didn't also happen to this other boy. And it's like, please get over yourselves. Yuno is fine.
I think that Yunho was like, this is the thing too, when we're talking about the solo schedules we want for boys, like I just feel like we need to think about what solo schedule does the boy in fact want for themselves. I feel like Yunho's much happier doing a 4-hour Valorant live than he is with like a 9-page magazine spread. Like that's much more his vibe. Whatever, I'm happy for Yunho and I'm happy for Yosong. But I have an interesting, I don't even know how to back into this. Because there's so much lore surrounding it. A long time ago, I wrote KQ fanfiction about KQ office worker fanfiction. I decided that what I really wanted to do was like turn that into a book. So I have been in my free time working on a KQ office romance fanfiction.
But it's not KQ. It's kind of like What's Her Face turning her Hermione fanfiction into an actual book, which I'm really looking forward to because there's nothing I love more than fanfiction being turned into a real book when it deals in romantasy, not other genres. What's Her Face? I'm looking directly at you. She knows. She knows who I'm talking to. I hate her.
Well, so I've been doing that. I've got my,
James, E.L. James. Sorry. I wanted to make it really public that I'm beefing with her, and will continue to beef with her for all of time.
So
please carry on.
Part of the plot of the book that I'm working on is that the stand-in for KQ needs money, and so they contemplate going public. And so I've been working on this plot where KQ is going to go public, but then in the end decide not to keep it, in-house for the love of the game situation. So I've been like working on this for months. This is not like I started this when this was announced. Like I have been working on this for 2 to 3 months, maybe even longer. I started it in January. So I started it in the new year.
Right. So it's been about 3 months because we're mid-April.
I've written 30,000 words on it. That's how long I've been working on this KQ decides to not go public romance story that I've been writing. And here KQ is like in real life being like, oh, but actually. So I think my power is that anything I want won't happen. So just anything that I want will not happen.
It's tough.
I know. I just couldn't believe it because I have been working on that story and now I'm like, trying to write this story and I'm like, wow, it really is a fan fiction. The main romance hero is Sean, Daddy Sean. So, and he's going to decide in my book that actually he doesn't want to take this company public. So when this story comes out and I do publish it, I just want y'all to realize that I had been working on this well before KQ announced.
Unless you put it in like the forward, hey, this is based on the Korean entertainment company KQ Entertainment. I don't think, you're...
But what about when they get to like the acknowledgments at the back and I'm like, thank you, Eden, who is Eli. Thank you, the man in the white sweater, who is Wit. Thank you, ATs, for being ATs. Like, when they get to those acknowledgments, I feel like it might be up. Like,
jig is up. Yeah. Well, maybe even reading that, people might be like, I don't know what she's talking about, but sure, it was a good time.
Anyways, so that's my super secret power. I can make anything I want to happen, not happen.
Now, did I read this, or is this just A&E speculation? But is it true that AT's members each have
stock
shares?
Yeah, that is true.
Okay.
So, like, I was already kind of thinking about them going public because it was revealed in their financial statements, like, last month that the members were given stock in the company. And this was, like, the first time that it happened. So I think that was part of, like, the preparation for it going public is that the members were getting stock in this company.
That's so smart. It's so smart because if you want the members to be emotionally invested in the success, not just of their group, but of the company, you give them stock.
And truly, like, AT's built KQ, and so they deserve stock in that company. Like,
yeah, for sure.
They built it. So.
And that was one of the things that I was thinking about. I was like, I do wonder if they do go public, if AT's is going to get a little slice of that pie, and they better. And it's good to see that they did. I hope they get a large slice
of that pie. I also hope that Eden has a large slice of that pie.
Hard to know. It's none of our business, but I would imagine so. I can't imagine him not,
I can't remember if I talked about this on the podcast or if I just like talked about it with Cassandra or with you, but KQ owns a controlling share of Edenary. So like Edenary is its own company that Eden owns.
Yeah.
But KQ owns like a controlling share of it. So I'm wondering how that's going to slice out. Like, is Eden going to get some shares of KQ, or is Edenary going to get some shares of KQ? In which case, KQ also owns some shares of Edenary. So KQ owns a controlling interest in Edenary. So if Edenary is the one that gets the shares, then Eden doesn't really get anything. So that's just something I was thinking about as an Eden stan.
I mean, I would imagine since they gave them directly to AT's members, because they didn't give them to the group AT's, they gave them to all 8 members of AT's. Yes. I would imagine they would, if they were, would offer them directly to Eden.
I hope they did.
I hope Maddox got some too. I hope all the OGs got a little something.
Yeah, got a slice of that pie. Because Edenary is also, like, pivotal to KQ's success. Like, Eden should be getting some stuff.
Yeah. I mean, and Eden, I think, is the only one that's been producing for AT's since day one. I don't know about Pepperoni and Olive. I know Maddox was not producing for them since day one. Lees and Olander have both left Edenary to pursue their own thing. So I feel like Eden's the only like real OG left since the beginning.
Eden was the first, like if you read the Eden, this is our Eden special, if you read the Eden article, he was like KQ originally wanted to be like a producing company. And so he was like their original artist. They were like, we're going to take you and you're going to be a producer, and that's the kind of company we're going to be. And then Hongjun came along. So like Eden was supposed to be like the star boy of KQ, and he is now what he is. So I feel like people should have more empathy for how Eden has like stepped aside. And
well, also too that his career has become extremely focused because he used to work with a lot of different groups. Like he worked with B2B, he worked with Namjoon or RM, he worked with
Woods is the one I was thinking of.
Woods.
He worked with Woods a lot.
So he used to have like he's got a really excellent, even beyond ATs, he has a really excellent resume or body of work, and he really has dropped all of that just to focus solely on ATs and Zykers. So, and I do feel like, and you had noted that in Zyker's most recent album that Eden was not involved in 2 of the songs. I forget which 2 now.
It's the last 2. So I don't remember what those are, but it's the last 2.
Okay, so not Highway, the one
Not
after.
Highway.
Roller Coaster and the last one. The last one's very vibey and would actually be something that I would think was very much Eden's style. But
so Maddox was the lead producer on those 2 songs.
And I am so for this. I'm so for it.
Like, I think it's great too. I'll be honest though, Highway was my favorite, and it was Eden. So like, you know, like, like
it was truly an excellent album though altogether. But Highway is my favorite. Breathe would probably Breathe and whatever the first one is called. Let me.
That's the thing. My favorite songs are the Eden ones, and like you know, like I don't want to, but that is the case. My favorite ones are the Eden ones.
You know, it is what it is. They had different choreographers. Interesting. Like BB Trippin and a group called Team I Am.
I was looking through their book and like saw some interesting facts that I was gonna bust out, but I don't even know. I don't remember what they were, and I don't. Did you look for that one woman in their book?
What's her name?
I don't remember.
Well,
how could I?
No, I didn't.
All right, so some Edenary lore for the people. For the last 2 weeks, Edenary, the current iteration of Edenary, which is Bomb, Eden, Maddox, and at least one other person that I can't remember. They are
Tankzo. Kikoi has been.
I don't know if those people are in London though. So Edenary.
What about Pepperoni and Olive? Are they there?
I think so. I think Pepperoni is, and if Pepperoni is there, then Olive is, right?
They are, listen, they are a unit. They go together always and forever. They will stay together, and I need them to be together forever.
So I am an Edenary stalker. So I'm really abreast on what Edenary is up to. So they have been in London for the last like 2 weeks, which I thought was very interesting because the last time they like went on a trip all together, it was for the song camp in LA. And prior to that, Maddox had really like built it up in his vlogs. I mentioned that I always listen to Maddox's vlogs on Fridays, and so I knew he was going to LA. I watched him go to LA. I watched him vlog all of it. But like the only reason I know that they're in London right now is because they have been occasionally posting about it on Instagram. Like the various members have been posting and tagging each other. So I was very fascinated by this trip to London. Like, what are they doing there? But it does seem to be another song camp. They've been with some producers who are based in London making music. We've seen pictures of them making music. Eden was in his white studio Crocs. He brought them to London, everyone. So I assume he did that specifically for me. So
Probably.
So they've been in London, but when they were in California, there was a woman who was tagged in one of their like final posts from when they were in California. She has a private account, so obviously I'm not crazy. I didn't follow her. Well, I'm like crazy, but like not in that way. So I didn't follow. Level. Yeah, I didn't follow her because she has a private account, and I'm assuming she doesn't want me to. So, but I did note the name, and they had like said, "Thank you so much, so and so, for making this trip happen." Like, and you know, they implied that she was very instrumental in making this song camp in LA a thing. And so the other day, they all went out to eat in London, and the same woman was tagged again as being a person who was there. So whoever this woman is, she's clearly doing some work on the production end to kind of like make these connections. And I was wondering if we could find her name in one of the books. I'm trying to find her.
Oh, she A&R. What does that mean?
A&R. How would I know?
Audio and recording?
Audio and recording, maybe.
But she's the first person listed. Jongho Kang, Shinwon Lee, Hyun Lee, and Yoon Hyung Park. They're up here at the top in like the big credits with like Eden and stuff.
Ah, so she's a big deal.
I don't know if that's what A&R means though.
Is A-N-R or A&R?
And like ampersand R.
Okay. Well, let's just Google and see what A&R is.
I wonder how long she's been there. I'm gonna pull out my treasure, all to zero, and see if her name is in here too. It is very interesting to track the names that have not changed this whole time.
Oh. A&R, sorry, this is the AI overview, which I normally don't read, but here we are. It came up first. Google hates me. A&R is talent scouting, artists and repertoire. Repertoire. I can't say that word. Sorry, everyone.
Repertoire.
A&R representatives are crucial for finding and developing new talent, often acting as the bridge between the artist and the record label or publishing company. Their responsibilities include scouting talent, signing artists, guiding their careers, and overseeing the recording and marketing of their music. Okay, so this is from Wikipedia. It's the division of a record label or music publishing company that is responsible for scouting, financing, and overseeing the artistic development of recording artists and songwriters. It acts as liaison between artists and the record label or publishing company. Okay, so that makes sense that she's being...
So she's scouting, people to work with them.
She has a private Instagram, so leave her alone, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Couldn't bother her even if you wanted to. Yeah,
but it's interesting to know. I'm just going
to go right on down this rabbit hole. But that is something that I have noticed is that KQ does promote from within. A lot of the people, like you'll see them sort of listed further down in earlier albums, and then as albums go on, you'll see them be promoted to a higher level, which I think is good. I think you should promote from within. I just think it's really fascinating to read the names and look at where they move, and like when they split into Zyker's and Maddox's management team, and then Eden and AT's management teams. Eden is still listed as an artist.
He
for
is.
KQ. He still has a management team.
I need them to do something.
So, like, give them some work, Eden. ATs can't have all of it. Let's. I would probably get lightly crucified for that because it sounds like I'm an auntie, but I'm not.
So I think the thing that I think is really fascinating is we talked about the song camp last season because we talked about how like charming and how lovely, and these are clearly new things. And in both cases, this woman has been there, and in the first one, thanked for her work in making it happen. So it does seem like these song camps are coming from her. Like
her idea. Let's just meet up with a bunch of people and let's just do some creative stuff.
And I love that. If her like main job is artist talent management, like giving these producers an artistic time to just like make art and make connections, I stan this woman. I think she's doing a really fantastic job. And it looks like they're having a lovely time in London as well.
Do you remember After Fever Part 3, I believe it was, when they like did the interviews of a lot of like the behind the scenes people, like the directors, and they interviewed Eden? And
I do not remember this. Are you kidding me?
Did they interview Eden? I know that they interviewed, maybe they didn't interview Eden, but they interviewed like people who like the directors and stylists, and like, and they were just, talking about how the concept came together and what they wanted. I think it was Fever Part. I'm fairly certain it was Fever Part 3. It might have been Part 1, but I'm pretty sure it was Part 3. But it was really fascinating, and they've never done that again. And it's very sad because I would love to hear more of the inside baseball about what's going on behind the scenes. Like, what are we doing? What's happening?
You'll just have to read my fan fiction to find out. I was gonna say, but I've forgotten. So never mind.
Was it about artist management, talent management, recruiting?
It was about the KQ company reviews. Did we talk about those on the podcast or just with each other? Okay. So
let's discuss.
The thing that I thought was really interesting. So a couple of weeks ago, it was maybe even a month ago.
It feels like it's been forever since this happened, but I don't think it was that long ago.
The reviews for KQ, like working at KQ, the company, were posted online, and there were some things that I thought were very interesting. And 18Es were like, see, I knew KQ was a bad company. And I was like, not for the reasons that y'all seem to think it is. Because one of the things that the employers who were unhappy said is that the artists are always right. And that there's
the artists are treated like kings. And well, the part that I thought was so funny about that review was how that person was like, if you are new, you don't get to treat the artist with the same familiarity as the people who've been there forever. And the artists are not going to ask you for stuff. They're only going to ask the people who they've known for a long time. And what was it? Oh, you can't call them, you can't call the artist by a casual name.
Like a familiar name.
Yeah, you can't be familiar with the artist if you haven't been there a long time. And I'm like, yeah. Yeah, exactly. You nail right on the head. You did it. Congratulations.
I think this was a bad employee. Are you kidding me?
I know everything they said. I'm like, because they're like it could have been a translation issue. That is always a possibility. It could have been a translation issue, but it did sound like they were complaining that the management only cared about the ideas of the people who'd been there a long time, and that the people who'd been there a long time are like showing. It was the vibe that I was getting was like the people who've been there a long time are showing off by like having good ideas. I was like, what?
Yeah, the part about not the artists only go to the people that they have known and trust. It's like, yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know what your complaint is. I'm sorry ATs didn't fawn over you. And I'm sorry that everyone treats each other with respect and defers to their expertise. That sounds really hard for someone who doesn't have any expertise.
The whole review just felt really immature to me. Yeah. And the vibe was, I'm just going to get on the internet and complain because I didn't get my way. And I have seen with my very own eyes that the employee retention at KQ is very good. And it is probably because as you become more senior, you get treated with more respect. Isn't that the way that it usually works in most workplaces? I get working at the school that I have, I've taught there for 15 years on and on. And I do get treated with I was never treated badly by the school, but now because I have experience and because I have proven myself, I do get treated with a lot more, I don't want to say deference, but it's a little bit of deference where essentially I can do whatever I want because I've proven that the things that I want to do are good things for my students. So yeah, of course. There's going to be a little more oversight when you're young, and then people will start treating you with more respect when you've proven yourself. That's how it works.
It felt like I think is the people below us Gen X? Are those the people?
No, Gen Z are the ones that come after the millennials.
Gen Z. It felt very Gen Z on Twitter to me, where it was I have new and fresh ideas and no one's listening to me. And it's I do understand that we do need new and fresh ideas, but also you can't just discount the experience of everyone else. You have to learn to work together. And this did not sound like a person who was learning to work with their colleagues. So it sounded like
it sounds like they didn't even work there very long. They'd only been there 6 months or so. I don't know if I'm pulling that number out of just thin air or if that number was listed somewhere, but it seems like they hadn't been there long.
There were very few reviews for KQ. And the thing is, you don't review a company that you still work for. Right. And they do retain a lot of their employees. So that skews it.
And most of the people who are going to want to go online and leave a review of a company that they've left are going to be people who are dissatisfied.
Right.
And again, I'm not sitting here saying KQ is the perfect company, but I do feel like this wasn't the gotcha moment that Aitneys wanted to make it online.
Right.
If the primary complaint against KQ as a company is that they treat their artists too well. They think of them
ATs like
too
kings.
highly. Like, what are... I don't feel like we have this... We're not making the same complaints here.
There was like a line too about like ATs deferring to the people who like it seemed like ATs themselves liked the ideas of the people who had been there the longest, and that upset the new people that ATs wasn't like siding with them. But what people seem to forget is that ATs are friends with all of those. Like, ATs are friends with the people at KQ. Don't you also side with your friends? Yeah. Like, anytime that you're like, oh God, Eden's the worst, he sucks, like, people are always like, Stray Kids and ATs are friends. No, ATs and Eden are friends.
Like, literally, Hongjoon with his very own mouth has stated that Eden is one of his best friends. He said that with his own mouth. Like, I'm not making that up. This is not my interpretation.
I don't even have to make that up. Yeah. So, anyways, I don't know where we were going, but KQ reviews are out.
Yeah. I did go and look up all the other big companies as well, and their reviews are a little bit higher, but they also have like hundreds of reviews by employees who have left. So, like, you're getting a lot more turnover. You're getting a lot more variety of opinions than from a very small company who doesn't let people go a lot, it seems.
What I will say, too, is, like, as a person who's worked with a small company and big companies, and, like, a person who's worked at a school, you must know this, too. There are certain schools where it is, like, a family, and sometimes people don't fit into that family, and it's not necessarily, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're bad. It just means that they don't fit into that vibe, and so it makes it really hard for them to
my school is
there.
like that. Like, it's a very, we have a vibe, and some people get it, and some people don't, and some people, like, they get there and it's not what they're expecting, and you've got there are a lot of people at my school that have worked there forever, and then we also have the normal, you know, constant turnover. We have it, I think, a little bit less going into next year. We're actually going to keep some people. It's very exciting. It's very, my work bestie is leaving though, so that's upsetting. But it is like, it is a vibe, and it is like they really do kind of work on creating an atmosphere where the teachers, like, we've got like a teacher group chat that people will like talk in it like over the weekends, and it drives me insane. I'm like, listen, y'all, no, stop it. But they'll just like chat about stuff and talk about, you know, things that are happening, and oh, this student won this championship and stuff like that. So they do encourage this very like familiar, friendly family vibe. And if that's not you, if you don't come in and you're like getting along with that, then it's not going to be a happy time for you. And I do feel like that can lend itself to being a little bit exclusionary.
Yeah, I agree.
And I'm a very like introverted person. I don't get in the group chat like hardly ever, unless I absolutely like, I'm looking for a child that has disappeared. It's like, can you please send this child back to my room? I don't know where he went. So like stuff like that. But I have found like over the past couple of years since I've been back for this round that they've been very warm and accepting, even in a way that I, who am an introvert and don't want to go hang out, still feel very like accepted by the group.
I do think it's going to be it's a different vibe than like a big company, and I think like some people really do excel in that part of a big company atmosphere, and I just think that the atmosphere you're going to get in a small privately owned company is very different, which I guess is another reason that I'm sad that the era is over.
See, I just don't feel like it's going to be that huge of a change.
I feel like that's so optimistic, and I'm hopeful, I guess.
Somebody's got to be optimistic.
Usually it's me, but not today. I hate capitalism so much that it ruins my optimism. Just can't do it. What else is going on in AT's news?
Well, I mean, everybody's expecting the comeback to be announced like anytime now, because the boys have gone very quiet. And that's typically what happens. Woo Young recently dyed his hair blonde.
It's cute.
So blonde. It looks really, really good. But he went like super blonde. He is changing it to something else, I think he said. He talked about how he was going to have hair from...
He also shortened it, which I was surprised by. I was much more surprised by him cutting it than him dyeing it, because I do think that he personally likes his hair longer. Like, he seems to be happier. However, it's possible that the dyeing it...
Like, it had to be cut.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a requirement.
It did make me remember that wonderful time when Mingy... Well, first he had dyed it pink. Like, he basically buzzed his hair and then dyed it pink. But then he went blonde afterwards. And it was such a good look for him. And I was thinking, I was literally thinking about that the other day, about how good he looked when he had that really short blonde hair.
Yeah, he did look good. Name a time Mingy doesn't look good. I'll wait.
It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. People are expecting comeback to be announced at any time.
I'm not. I was just thinking, like, I guess I expect the comeback to be announced at the beginning of May for the end of May. But because I'm wrong about everything, you know.
Right. See, look, I mean, because they have done, for the past couple ones, they've done very short. Like for Zykers too, for the past couple Zykers, they've announced it like just a couple weeks before it drops. So that might be their new thing. Is just like we're not doing the full lead up anymore. We're just gonna let you know it's coming, and then 2 days later, there it is.
I mean, people are going to complain either way.
Yeah.
Because, like, if you don't give us very much time, they're going to complain. And if you give us a lot of time, but you don't fill it with anything interesting, they're going to complain. So, like, either of those, I mean, they could do it in a way where they would, you know, do it well. And then maybe people wouldn't have to complain. But I don't have faith that they're going to do that. So, you've got two options where people are going to complain. Either a long lead up that's empty, or a short lead up that's also empty but it's short. So
I just really feel I'm not making any predictions for this comeback. I am not making any demands. I'm not going to say anything that I want, because I'm always just so wrong. And I really, there's not anything that's like on my heart that I'm like craving from them, other than the things that I'm always craving, which is yearning and rock. I want those forever and always. So if you give that you give it to me, that's what I want. But I'm not gonna like try to make any predictions or anything. But so I'm going into this like arms wide open. Whatever you want to feed me, Sean, I'm gonna take it. Like that's what we're doing. That said, you got to give me some lore. You gotta give me some lore. You gotta give me some lore. Like, listen, work, really fun music video. Great. Loved it. Ice on my teeth, wonderful. So vibey.
I loved the vibes. That's my
so
exact
great.
Vibe. I want to take the Ice on My Teeth music video and turn my house into it. That's what I want.
She does. She's working on it.
I'm working really hard.
So loved both of those, but I do miss when there was sort of a story. I miss Strickland. I want to go back to Strickland. Like, Strickland was so fun when we were there because everything was connected, and there was like, you know, there were like real locations where we were, and we could see little bits of the lore kind of being played out, and we're not getting that anymore. And that's
because so many people complained about that.
Those people are stupid.
They ruin everything. The people who complain ruin everything. Like, that was the huge complaint during that. It needs to be less lore heavy so more people can get into it. That was the whole thing. And now, listen, that was the whole thing. There's too much lore. It's hard for new people to understand. We need to cut it. And now the whole complaint is, sorry, now I'm upset because I started thinking about One Tease again. Now everyone's like, we need One Tease back. Since when? You never watched One Tease. You used to always complain about how One Tease wasn't going 17 and run BTS, and now all of a sudden you want it back? Those views don't justify KQ spending the money to give you free content.
They don't justify ATs spending the time to do that instead of doing stuff that they want to do.
It's so infuriating. I don't know how I got to hear from lore, but
it's the same.
Complaining is the problem.
Complaining about something, and then when they get what they want, it makes everything worse for the rest of us. Like, listen, I loved One Tease. I watched One Tease religiously.
I did
every
too.
single time. I've seen every episode. It was very fun. And I know that people, they like the one where ATs got drunk. They like the one where ATs went to the medical center and they got their whatever procedures that they got. They like those. I'm like, yeah, those are also very expensive to make. They rented out an entire medical center.
Yeah.
If you want to make that worthwhile, you better go put some views on that video and stop watching it on Twitter.
Yeah.
Like you need to go make it worth the money that they spent. And there's no, and if for the cheaper ones that they did, like where they were playing in the playground that like nobody watched, then like you can't have everything.
Justify the thing. And like for one tease, no, it doesn't. The expense does not justify the thing. And like it's frustrating because they've moved away from these like OTA things, and I don't like they still do them, but that was because again that was what the Twitter sphere wanted, right? They were like, we need solo schedules. I want to see these boys pursuing their things. Why don't we have any solos? It's like they don't want to have this like solo stuff, and now we've got solo stuff, and they're like, why don't we have one tease? Like you have got to stop. Like you already ruined lore, so just stop. Like just be happy with something. Like you can be critical and just like still appreciative of what we're getting. Sorry, I got really frustrated. Should we end it here? I don't even know where we're at.
End on a note of frustration, I guess. I mean, I don't think we have any. We don't have any other schedules. We don't have anything else to talk about because they're not doing anything. Like they're rarely even posting on like Instagram.
I do have an update about Japan, the Japan tour. I've just found out some things that I think are wild. To get a ticket to go to the Japan concert, you have to have a Japanese fan club account. To be in the Japanese fan club, you have to have a Japanese address and a Japanese phone number. They are just so...
They are locked down.
They do not want a foreigner at that concert. But anyways, one of my friends does have a Japanese address and phone number, so she was able to get an account. And so she is going to attempt to get me tickets for me and her. You can only get two. You can get two, and the person who has the account has to be there. So I'm going to try to go with her to one of the Japan concerts when my family is like in Japan. So,
are you going to be in there? That's when you're going to be there?
I was supposed to leave like 2 days before the Kobe concert. And I was like, well, that's 2 days. Yeah. So I am going to attempt to extend that trip. I haven't decided if I'm going to make my family stay or if I'm just going to send them home and I'll just stay with my friend for like 2 or 3 extra days so I can go to those concerts. Because I think that would be so fun. I would love to see the Japan songs
get treated
performed. And like have people be respectful during a concert to me. I too don't want to be here in America.
I know. I don't agree with all of our concert culture, and some of it drives me insane.
But I think it's wild that you have to go through all of these steps. And so she was looking into like what we would need to do to upgrade to kind of like the VIP experience for Japan. And we would both need the AT&E membership for Japan, which I cannot get because I do not have that sort of connection in Japan. Though I did ask anyone I know who has like a remote connection to Japan if they knew someone, like just anyone, just a wide net. And the answer was no.
I mean, well, you know what they don't have problems with over there? Scalpers, resellers. Tickets are probably extraordinarily so much more cheap than they are here.
Oh, absolutely. The tickets here are crazy. Like people were talking about the AT's show ticket price, and we talked about it a little bit in the last episode. But the thing that was expensive, my Ticketmaster fees were almost $300. Like that's crazy.
I just don't understand why they just are getting away with that. Like they can just do whatever they want. And I'm like, I thought Taylor Swift went to battle against these people for this. She didn't fix anything for the rest of us. She just fixed things for herself. Like, what is this about? And it's very frustrating because it's like you have two choices. You have Ticketmaster or you have AXS, and AXS is garbage. And it's not cheaper than Ticketmaster.
No.
So they're all getting super, super rich for just providing the software, like the app where we are buying the tickets. They're not doing anything else. Like, that's just it. You know,
and
whoever thought of that scam?
Work well.
No, they're all bad.
And they don't have to make them work better because there's no competition. This is, we talked a lot about the tariffs last last episode, which I hope
Are we going back
enjoyed.
into political corner? Is that what we're doing right now?
No, not necessarily, but someone had, I think it was on Instagram Threads or something, where they were like talking about, we don't have regulations because they're good for business. We have regulations because unfettered capitalism would kill us all.
Because they're talking about people, they're like walking back like USDA inspections and stuff. And they're like, oh yeah, the states will take care of it. Yeah, because the states are so good at doing things. We've seen that.
Like I'm sorry, the government does not exist to make money. The government exists to serve the people. The government is not a business. The government is not running on capitalism.
Hey everyone, do you know who else said that the government should be run like a business and the president its CEO? Do you know who said that? Anybody get any guesses? Any guesses? Any guesses? Any guesses?
Is it Hitler?
It's Hitler. It's Hitler. That's what he said, because that structure mimics like patriarchy, because you have the father who is the head of everything and is making all of the decisions, and so that the country is profitable.
I knew it would be Hitler. It's not, just like when the people are talking about, well, the U.S. Postal Service doesn't make money. The U.S. Postal Service is not designed to make money. It does not matter.
It's not a business.
It is designed to serve the people. It is serving us. It's supposed to. That's what it's supposed to do.
That's its job. When you are a politician, you are a public servant. You work for us. We are your CEO. And the idea that, we just took our foot and stepped so firmly into politics corner, and so confidently and with so much zeal. I don't know how we got here, but
we're here now.
Here we are in politics corner.
Idiots talking about politics 2 weeks after the fact. Just good quality content.
Listen, the country will still be garbage when this episode comes out, so it's fine. But anyway, because when I was listening to High Conflict, that book that you've been recommending that everybody listened to, I finished it yesterday, and one of the things that the author talks about is this sect of, it's some type of Islam, I believe, where
I know what you're talking about.
You get like elected for your position, but it is not a position of power. It's like a volunteer service, and it's like you don't run for it. Nobody wants it. People just pick you, and if you get selected, you have to serve.
Yeah,
and so it takes away this idea that you've won something, that it's a power move, because you're not in a position of power. You are in a position of servitude, you know? And this idea that service. Yes.
People service.
So but also like if you get an idea, anytime like an idea is shared, that idea doesn't belong to you anymore. It now becomes the property of everybody.
Right.
And I'm like, this method is so healthy. Like that's such a healthy way to look at it. It's absolutely impossible to have that kind of attitude with public service today, because because of capitalism.
Yeah,
because money is power.
The system is set up bad. Like we can't get to a good result because the system itself is bad. All of the systems in place are bad. We have to fix the whole of the systems. And like it's hard because we're not all on the same page about fixing the systems. Like one of the things that the book recommends is like introducing third-party candidates. Like we do have third-party candidates, but the system is so poorly designed to any vote. In the past election, it was like any vote for a third-party candidate is a vote for Trump. Yeah. And I don't want to vote for Trump. So I have to vote for the other one. And it's like enough people have to agree to the system, the system shift to make the third party candidate an option. And just like we don't have enough people who agree. Also, the third party candidate last time was bad.
Well, it's never even just a third party. It's like a third party and then all these other smaller parties that you never hear about until the election. So it was Jill Stein was our primary third party person. And I'm like, I never hear about this woman outside of elections, like ever. what does
I hear
she
about
do?
her every 4 years.
And people are like, she crawls out of her hole to mess up the elections and then crawls back into her hole when they're over. Because I'm like, yeah, what is she up to? You hearing about her? Have you heard anything about her? Which, again, that's a media thing, too, because the media is part of what is making us all insane.
And it's, again, the systems. Every system that we have is setting us up for this failure and conflict. And it's like, how do you escape it? Because the only people who are trying to escape it, we can't escape it alone, because there's people on the other side of the conflict. Like, we can't leave it alone.
Yeah.
We need the help of everyone, and not everyone's coming together, because some people profit from this conflict, specifically the people in power.
The fire starters. There are too many fire starters.
That was fucking depressing.
Yeah.
What happened?
I mean, if we were very clever, we could like link it back to lore. But where's the lore, Sean? There is no lore. You took it away from us.
And here's the worst part. I'm never going to get my anti-capitalist lore now that he's going full capitalism. Sean, you've betrayed me in the worst way.
It's like, it's a good thing they got the World Series out of their blood before they signed on for investors. Investors might be like, I don't know about that.
I don't like that one. Take that one out. So that's the betrayal I feel from Sean is pretty high.
See, I feel that Sean was in a position where the only way he could move forward was by betraying perhaps his own ideals.
The Sean in my book would never.
The Sean in her book would never, but the Sean in her book is fictional and does not live in the real world, and there's no Hybe in the fictional universe.
The Sean in my book is here for the love of the game, as is the intern, who is his partner. They are having a beautiful romance. Anyways, we should get back to some 80s thing before we start closing this down. Some good 80s
Well,
thing.
we have to talk about our patron saint.
Okay.
To shut it down. So this week, this Friday, I have to go to Six Flags with the 8th graders.
Jongho.
Maybe Jongho. I do not intend to have a good time because I don't like roller coasters.
There's an 80s member that enjoys going by to amusement parks by themselves.
San does.
San. Perhaps it's San.
San is very dangerous for me because every time I pick San, I have a bad week. It's like I pick San knowing that I'm going to need comfort from something terrible that's going to happen in that week that I'm unaware of. And so I do feel like if I'm ever leaning towards San, it's because there's tragedy coming up in my life. And so I'm very scared to pick him because I don't have the emotional stability and mental fortitude to deal with tragedy this week. So I do feel like is probably correct for me.
One crisis away from a mental breakdown.
So close every single day. I have reached that point in the semester where I'm so over it. I told my one class, I have a one class of just absolute losers who will not do their work. And I told them, I was like, listen, y'all. I'm like, listen to me. I'm making a deal with you. Listen to me. If you all will just turn in your outsiders packet and it's just complete, it's done. It's all there. You turn it in. You're turning it in on time. I don't have to go make you extra copies. I don't have to take off points because you just skipped a whole chapter. You just do it. I'm like, I have uploaded the keys to Classroom. So if you missed a day, you can go find them. And you can get all those answers. I'm like, if you will do this to me, I will just cancel the last unit of grammar. We don't have to tell anybody. I will just make it like it never happened. And they're like, okay. And I'm like, but I'm not talking about this again. All right, listen. I'm like, I'm not. You take on the responsibility and you do the thing you know you're supposed to do and you turn it in on time after your test. And if we all do this, then you will have earned. You'll have earned. You wouldn't have earned, but to them, they will have earned this gift. Did they all turn in their packets? I ask you, gentle listeners, did they turn in their packets? No, they didn't.
There's no way. There's no way. And so now you have to suffer too, because now you have to teach grammar to these losers. Right. It's like, that's the worst.
Well, it's an easy unit. It's a very easy unit, which was the only reason that I was like, okay, we don't need to put this on the exam, so we can just skip this. I'll just let them do it in high school. But no, of course not. Of course not. So I tried, but I was like, I'm just over it. I spent all day Thursday. We had the like community outreach person that works for Raphael Warnock come to our school and talk to our 8th graders, and they just had like a Q&A session, and those kids were super into it. I had a couple, most of them were asking like, well, so why did you decide to work for Senator Warnock, and what does a typical day look like, and things like that. And then this one kid, so what does Senator Warnock think about the tariffs right now? What does he think about them? And she's like, oh, well, and she's very like, she's got media training. So she's like, well, he thinks they're a terrible idea. She's like, just between you and me, he thinks there's a bad idea. But then she redirects the conversation to something more positive, to, how Warnock, what he feels about whatever. And then somebody else asks her, what does he think about the deportations? How does he feel about this? And she was like, well, Senator Warnock believes in the dignity of human life and that all people deserve to have due process, and that it is he's like, she believes that we should be loving to our neighbor. He's a pastor. He's still the senior pastor of a church somewhere in Atlanta, and he still preaches every Sunday. So she's like, he believes, the Bible says that we are supposed to love our neighbor and we are supposed to love the strangers. And so he believes that, and he stands by that. And I'm like, good job. Good job, Ref. But anyway, so the rest of the day we did that. So the schedule was like weird, but the rest of the day I just like sat in my chair and I read a book because I was like, I'm sorry, I can't do it today. I'm incapable.
Y'all also read a book? That's good for you. I don't know.
The kids were doing a test. I was reading a book. I'm like, listen, I put in so much work this year and I'm exhausted and I feel like I'm just, always about to cry. So just because I'm so tired, like I'm just so tired and over it.
I needed to complain about Album Buddy. Let's circle up. Circle those wagons. So the other day I posted my transparency report.
This is not going to be a shorter episode.
Well,
we tried. Anyway, carry on.
I posted my transparency report for Golden Hour Part 2. I spent some time on it. Most of the reason that I posted it was because of the tariffs. I wanted to tell people this is where we are. This is what's happening. The shipping situation continues to be very bad. Even with the tariffs canceled for 90 days for negotiations, the shipping companies themselves have no idea what's going on. They're behind. They can't process orders. Like they've stopped DHL. Yes. Was like, if your package is under $800, we're just going to put it in a corner to not be dealt with because we're so behind on all other packages. And one day we'll come back to those. But for now, they're just in a corner. So the shipping companies are just going through it. It's all really bad. So anyways, I was writing our transparency report to talk about how the group orders went from our perspective. And one of the things that I complained about was a new caddy service that I used called Album Buddy. And it was MakeStar's caddy service. And I think that I was very fair in my recitation of their crimes. So, I had said what happened. I said how I thought it could have been better. I said the things that I liked, but I ultimately said, I will not be using this service because it did not work for me. It does not work for me. And these are the reasons why. Album Buddy then contacted me. Not only did they send me an email, personal apology, they also commented on that blog post, a very long comment. And I was like, that's wild because I didn't tag them. It's not like I was like, hey, Album Buddy, come look at my thoughts about you. So they just found it and then did the legwork to email my personal email address because that is not connected to our website. So they did the legwork to connect up who I was. I don't think it was hard legwork, but they did it. So I was really impressed with this. And in the spirit of collaboration, I wrote them an 8-page memo about how they can improve their service for other people going forward. Still not me, because I won't be using them. And this was all before I had opened their box, which I had complained about how they didn't give me a packing order. They didn't organize anything. I don't know what's in the box because of their system and how it was designed. And so Friday, I opened the box and I was going through the box. My dudes, it is missing 15 Jonghos. 15 Jonghos. So an order from a store is missing 15 Jonghos. And I watched those videos. I complained about it. So I watched the unpacking videos. I don't remember seeing a video that was just missing 15 Jonghos because I would have flagged that as an issue. But one of the other things that I complained about was they were sending me these videos like well after the 7 days. So even if there was an issue,
there's nothing you can do about it.
There's nothing I could have done about it. And also, they placed the order for me. So it wasn't like I was given 15 other cards. This order was 15 short. And there was not like, they kind of like tell you the breakdown of how many albums you get, and it said that I got 120, so I assumed that meant that I got the 120, and like they placed the order. And the way they kind of did the videos, they didn't like lay all of them out in a way where you could like see how many you had and like tell you how many you had. You had to like be keeping track of it. It was a really horrible system. And so I did like complain all about those things. But like when I opened this box, it was 15 short. It was 120 order. There are 15 missing POBs. They just are not in this box. And I do not remember that being the case in the video. So I reached out to Album Buddy and I was like, what the fuck happened? Also, before I reached out to them, I made several stories on Instagram about how much I hated Album Buddy, how they're the fucking worst, how they ruined my life and everything in it. And then, you know, I tried to like bring it back in. So I like archived all of those stories and I was like, you know, made a new story that was like, we're missing 15 of these cards. I'm working with the caddy to figure out how to solve it. And then I laid on my floor and cried with my face like on the tile. I hated it so much. I was so mad. I did hear back from Album Buddy and they were like, you know, the warehouse people aren't in over the weekend. So we'll see what they say on Monday. But yeah, this is over $150 just gone, just nowhere, right? Because that's how much those 15 POBs cost. Worse still that they're all Jonghos. I have an OT7 set. No Jonghos to account for.
And Jongho is the member that we are always needing. Because there's so many of us, even in just our small little collective, we're always needy for the Jonghos.
And to just not have any Jonghos, like basically any other member would have done fine. So you know, what should happen is that Album Buddy should refund me. Or send me those POBs if they have them. We did get 15 of a different POB that I did not order. So we think that what happened is they like fucked it up. But
mixed it up with somebody else maybe.
Who's to say? Who's to know? But it's not that Go. It's a different Go. It's like 15 of something else that we didn't, like a different store, a different drop. So it's not even the same card. But we don't have any extra of those cards. We are just missing 15 for that group order of 120 cards. So there's like no easy way for us to like fix that because we can't like sub it out with a different card. Be like, oh, sorry, they didn't send us the Jonghos, so here's Oh Young. Like we can't do that. We just don't even have any cards for it. What they should do is send me those 15 Jonghos. If they don't have the 15 Jonghos, there's like nothing, you know, what are they going to do? They can send me $150, but that doesn't fix that we don't have that. Like I can refund people. If they send me the $150, who knows? I already threw them under the bus on social media, so why fix it for me? So I don't have a lot of faith that they're going to fix it, even if I think they should. So I've been like trying to acquire these Jonghos. I bought, I don't know, like 7 or 8 out of my own money, trying to just get these Jonghos for joiners and myself. I too would like one of these Jonghos. So anyways, I continue to think people shouldn't use Album Buddy. That was my minor inconvenience. I don't know that that's minor. That was my major inconvenience that took me, like it took me all the way out. I had 2 people over. They were sitting at my table. I left the room. I went and laid on the floor and just put my cheek on the cold tile and in a ball, like a child's pose. It took me fully out, and I have not recovered. And I did pick Son as my patron saint. So I don't know.
So I'm not saying that he's dangerous. I'm just saying that he knows when you're going to need him the most.
So gotta contemplate who I'll be needing this week. I often will choose. Sometimes I'll pull out the big guns. Like if I've got like a lot of executive work to do, I will pull out the big guns and choose Eden as my patron saint, who I have decided is Mito. Mito is his representative animal. The thing I have to do this week is I need to work on my KQ fan fiction. Obviously, I need to paint my house. Who's good at house painting? I did get some house painting done when I picked but I don't know
about house painting, but we know that Jongho paints.
Maybe this is a Jongho week.
It might be a Jongho week because I'm thinking about that painting that he made of like the seaside for one of the One Tease episodes. And it was just like so extraordinary. Like he just whipped it out. And I was like, what? Yeah. What is happening?
And I just love Jongho so much. I was listening. I don't even remember what song it was, but I almost texted you and I was like, hey, have you ever heard the high notes in this song? Just like, I don't know if you're aware of how good they are. And every song, so can't even. Okay, I think Jongho will be my patron saint.
Oh, by the way, speaking of Jongho, his song that he did had not come out on our last episode, but it is out now and it's beautiful. It's so gentle and beautiful.
It's so perfect. He's so perfect. He really just soothes the soul.
He also, when he got the music, he raised it not 2 octaves, but like 2 levels. So it would be higher. So take that, all those Jongho lower register people.
Obviously, Jongho has a beautiful lower register. He has talked about how he loves to do the high notes because he loves it. He loves that attention. He loves the praise. He loves all eyes on him. He said it in Kingdom. Yeah. With his words. So just shut the fuck up and let him do his fucking high notes. Anyways, see y'all next week.
Okay, bye. Thank you for joining us for today's chat. If you enjoyed, please follow or subscribe to the podcast.
You can find us on Blue Sky at HoloChat Podcast or read more from our blog at ontini.com.
If you love books, you can also follow along with our spin-off podcast, Readers of the Lost Art.
We'll see you next time. Be the light.